treat all your patients like this or just the black ones?
And honestly, guys, for me, what makes this even more frightening is not that racism exists. No, we know it does. But what's truly terrifying is when the person holding the bias or hatred is the same person that's responsible for your care. That's terrifying. Hey loves. So today's video is heavy. Trigger warning, because what you're about to see is heartbreaking, shocking, and honestly, it made my stomach drop. Watching this brought back so many memories, and honestly, it almost brought me to tears. My blood was boiling because when one mother suffers, when one woman is in pain and ignored, those of us who care, we feel that deeply. We do. The clip you're about to see shows one woman in active labor. She's in intense contractions, struggling to breathe, barely able to speak. You don't need to be a parent or have gone through childbirth for you to recognize the level of distress that she was in. She's brought into the emergency room and it's painfully obvious that she needs urgent attention. And instead of prioritizing her well-being, instead of getting her straight into labor and delivery, or even just showing basic compassion, the emergency room nurse decides that this is the time to run through intake questions. The emergency room nurse who shows no compassion is called Larissa Vaughn. This incident took place at Dallas Medical Regional Hospital in Texas. So I'm going to play the footage for you. It's distressing. Please watch this and tell me how this is acceptable. Take a look.
Fuck! When's your due date? Right now! Is your due date 11? What? How many times have you been pregnant? 3! This is your 3rd pregnancy? Yes! You have 2 babies at home? It's in my ass! You have 2 babies at home? Who's your doctor?
Lang is her doctor. Y'all treat all your patients like this or just the black ones?
Okay, Beverly, this is the first patient for you. Last name is Jones. She's G3P2. I'm not sure when her due date is.
Her due date
I
is
just said
the 10th.
it was the 10th. I think her due date is the 10th.
She got 3 pregnancies, 2 babies at home. I bet y'all listen next time. When you found out you was delivering at this hospital, your ass should have changed doctors. Everybody say how they treat people here.
Guys, the video you've just seen was being filmed by her mum. That lady is in active labor, real contractions, real pain, barely able to breathe or form sentences. Meanwhile, Nurse Larissa is sitting there asking questions. Is this your 1st pregnancy? How many kids have you had? When's your due date? And the patient, through the pain and the contraction, literally says, right now. Because at one point I heard her say, it's in my ass, like it's right there. And when you're feeling that baby right there, if a woman is saying that the baby is right there, that only means one thing: she is ready to push once you feel that pressure. When you're hearing those words as a nurse, you should be moving fast, moving swiftly. Then Nurse Larissa proceeds to ask her, how many times have you been pregnant? She manages to say 3, and instead of moving with urgency, the nurse repeats everything back to her, like she's confused or like it's a casual conversation. And then she proceeds to say, so you've got 2 kids at home? Well, yeah, if this is the 3rd she has and they're somewhere. She asks again, you've got 2 kids at home? As if repeating the question mattered more than actually helping her at that moment in time. Whilst watching it, I'm thinking to myself, what does any of that have to do with what's happening right now? Because she's already answered you and she's clearly in labor, active labor. She clearly needs help. Why are we interrogating right now instead of intervening? And here's what so many people do not understand. When it's not your first baby, things progress really, really fast. The body remembers, the labor becomes more intense, more quickly, and the mother knows exactly what her body is doing. It's not her first time. She's gone through it the second, the third time. She knows. She's not confused. She's not exaggerating. She's been here before. This is her third time. She knows she's ready to deliver. But Nurse Lacrissa, completely unfazed. No urgency, no compassion, no awareness. And she keeps going with questions. Who's your doctor? And at this point, her mum had to answer for her because she just physically can't. And for me, what makes this whole situation even colder is the way she's doing all of this. She's not facing the woman. She's not making eye contact. She's not reassuring her. Rather, she has her back turned, typing on the computer like this is normal routine. Back turned, no contact, can't be bothered, nothing to see here, no sense of urgency. She's going on like this woman isn't fighting through one of the worst pain that a human body could ever experience. It's alarming. No comforting words at all. No, oh, we've called the labor and delivery room. Someone will be here. They're expecting you. They're making a room for you. They're making a bed for you. No single acknowledgement of her fear. Just coldness. And as someone who has been through labor 4 times, I cannot stress this enough. Reassurance matters. Oh my goodness, it matters when you're going through that pain. Hearing simple words like help is coming, having compassion in that moment, it goes a long way. It really does. It honestly makes a huge difference when your body is going through that pain. Comforting words, they go a long way. Simple thing like saying gas and air is on its way. Your nurse is coming. Your midwife is coming. We'll be with you soon. Your room is ready. They were comforting words. It gave me something to look forward to. It gave me hope that we were progressing and we were taking the right steps in me being relieved from the pain. Of course, it's okay for those questions to be asked, but there is a way in which those questions could have been asked. I believe she could have been attended to whilst those questions are still being asked. So a task is being done whilst they're addressing her. That way she feels like they're making progress as opposed to what's happening in that video. Should have gone something like this.
Oh, okay, just give me 1 second. Hi, L&D. I have a mama in labor. She's talking about rectal pressure. You don't have to sit if you don't want to. You can go ahead and stand and sway, whatever is the most comfortable for you. No, I have not done her intake yet. The situation we're in right now, we're having a baby. Totally understand that, but we need an OB down here. I do not think she's gonna make it to L&D. Okay, deep breath. And blow it away. Okay, while we're in between this contraction, all I need to know is your name so I don't have to call you mama. If you have like a folder with your information, insurance and stuff like that, you can give that to me. If not, that's no big deal. We're just gonna breathe and move through this. How many kids do you have? Is this your first? Your third, okay. Congratulations. And when's your due date? Okay, today, awesome. Your baby is punctual. Well, listen, I know you probably already know this because you are a veteran mom, but that rectal pressure is baby's head moving down your pelvis. Have you noticed any fluid or blood? Try not to push. I know it's really hard with that. A fetal ejection reflex, I don't know. I'm not really qualified to handle this, but an OB is on their way. Who's your actual doctor? Okay, well, even if I'm not qualified, I'm really happy to be part of this big day for you. Literally anything other than what that bitch did.
Honestly, guys, I agree with her. This is exactly what should have happened. Like I said earlier, I've been through this 4 times and I've had a mixed experience. And to be honest with you, I've had that experience, where the midwife or the nurse is engaging me whilst they're waiting to get things moving. But they're showing compassion to me. They're engaging me. They're asking all these questions and I'm answering them without even knowing that I'm answering meaningful questions. But it's the way they're going about it. There's reassurance. I can also see that they are calling the necessary people who need to attend to me. So that's giving me comfort. For this woman, there should have been no delay. There shouldn't have been an interrogation. No debate. She was clearly ready to give birth. And as you can see from the caption on the video, she had the baby just 12 minutes after all this happened. 12 minutes. I can only imagine the pain this lady would have been in. She was literally fully dilated at that point. And yet she was treated like she was overreacting. This isn't just poor care, this is a dangerous system. A system that puts black mothers at risk and a system that needs to be challenged, changed and held accountable. Because no woman, especially in one of the most vulnerable moments of her life, should have to fight to be believed. Guys, the mother actually gives a full breakdown of everything that happened. Take a look.
Hello, TikTok family. This is a follow-up on the video that I posted earlier. So, I was at work. I had no idea of the activity that was going on. My daughter's texting me, calling me. I didn't know what was going on. So finally I get home, they tell me about the video, and a lot of you was asking about a follow-up and to explain the situation. So this is the situation. My daughter went into active labor at home. We took her to the hospital. She called ahead of time, so we know they are expecting us. However, we get there to the emergency room. We watching nurses, putting gloves on, running to the door. They get outside of the door, and I drive a black SUV, and they look at my vehicle, and one of the nurses come up to the window, and she goes, I'm sorry, this is for ambulance only. I said, well, my daughter is in active labor. And she was like, okay. She said, but you're going to have to go to the front. I'm like, I have to drive to the front. And they said, yeah, you have to drive to the front. Okay, another redhead. And so I'm like, so she's you hear, and it was like, yeah, she started bagging up, hit the button, went back inside the building. So I go around to the front. I get out of the car. Again, this girl is in more pain now than she was when we first left the house. And she started saying, I feel pressure, I feel pressure. I said, take deep breaths. I ran in. I said, hey, my daughter's in the car. I went to emergency. They told me I had to come to the front. So the lady was like, what's your daughter's name? Told her Kiara Jones. She gets out some paperwork, started typing in the name. I was like, ma'am, do you have a wheelchair or anything? She's in the car. I need to get her in. Oh, if you check on the other side of those doors where the vending machine's at, there should be a wheelchair out there. There's no wheelchair out there. So she gets up, she walks in the back, and she comes to the door with a wheelchair. She said, here you go, ma'am. I said, excuse me, you're not going to come with me? And she was like, no. Oh, okay. So, a police officer was in the lobby. He gets up. He grabbed a wheelchair. He goes out the door with me. He said, come on, I got you. Went out there. She is on hands and knees in the back of the vehicle. And I'm like, oh, shit, what is going on? And then she goes, it's in my ass. And I was like, what? And the guy was like, and she was like, he said, okay. She was like, give me a minute. She could not move. So when that contraction eased, we put her in a wheelchair. He said, you can go park your car, because they, again, had people out there. So I went park my car. It wasn't even 30 seconds. I run back in the building. She's just there with a stack of papers in her hand, screaming that this baby is coming. This baby is coming. I look at the registers behind the window, and they looking at me, and they was like, well, we can't do anything until she signed the papers. Are you fucking kidding me? So I grabbed the papers, and of course, it's all ER bullshit that they have. And I was like, you want her to sign this, and she's in active labor. And they was like, okay. I was like, ma'am, she was supposed to be induced earlier today at 8 o'clock. And they called and told her that they will call her because they didn't have beds. And they will let her know. And no one ever called back. They called back every hour on an hour. And they was like, no, we'll call you back. And then finally, her water break, she called them. They tell her to come in. So why is she signing these papers? We need her in labor and delivery. And it was like, ma'am, I'm sorry. So the charge nurse comes out. And she saw the paper signed. What fucking, are you serious right now? And she closes the door. And then the lady behind the window at this point, my daughter, scribbled her name on all the papers. We gave it to her. She says, thank you. She walked it around to the charge nurse. She opened up the door. My daughter is literally like having a contraction. And she's just standing there in the door. So we push her into the door. I said, can we get her into labor and delivery? She said, no, we have to fill out all this paperwork. I have to do the paperwork and get her a band before we can send her upstairs. So that was the video that you guys saw that I initially posted. So the next video that has no picture on it was when I was pushing her in and we was at the window because they asked me to move her from the window so they can take care of the guests or, patients that was coming in and out. Do not go to this hospital. This hospital is ghetto as hell. They do not care about black women or their babies. This is crazy. I read about stuff like this all the time. But to see this firsthand, this lady did not care. None of them. It wasn't until we got into labor and delivery where we saw an ounce of care or sympathy for her. Before then, they can care less. She did not care if she gave birth in that wheelchair. That was not her problem or her concern.
What a traumatic ordeal. Honestly, guys, in a situation like that, all you just need is for people to attend to your needs urgently. I'm shocked that that was someone's experience. I'm glad that this didn't end in a negative way and that after that awful, stressful encounter, thankfully both mom and baby are okay. But here's the part that sits heavy because the baby was born with his eyes opened and visibly distressed. He had a bowel movement inside the womb, which is a clear sign that his little body was under stress during labor. Take a look.
Hey guys, I'm here with mom and baby Cash. They are doing well. He has a doctor's appointment tomorrow at the pediatric center. It's a lot of concerns. They taking tests on him. He still have to go through several other tests down the line because he was born with his eyes open, and due to the stress and trauma that occurred in the triage area, the baby had a bowel movement in mom, and the fluids was green, and like I said, he born with his eyes open. So they are, taking all that in consideration as well. But he's eating well, sleeping well, looking good. And I was also reading a lot of the comments, and some of you under the impression it was twins. They are not twins. This is daughter with baby Cash, and this is other daughter with baby DJ. They are a month apart. DJ born 10/10 and KJ born 11/11. Thank you again for your support and your concerns, and we will most definitely keep you updated.
Guys, honestly, the reality is that this didn't need to unfold the way it did. If she had been taken seriously from the moment she arrived, if she had been seen immediately instead of repeatedly being interrogated, If someone had showed urgency, compassion, or even basic awareness, this whole situation could have looked entirely different. She was in active labor, it was obvious. I mean, I'm not a nurse or a midwife, but from the screen, anyone could tell that she needed help urgently. This video went viral as at the time of recording this, it had views of 62 million and counting, with over 5.2 million likes. Let's take a look at some of the comments. Someone said, I had a black friend that passed during childbirth. It's heartbreaking. My sister, black, died during childbirth. Another person said she should have never been disrespected like that, especially at that time. Someone says sad, but medical professionals are to black women as police are to black men. That's just truly sad. And just when people thought the conversation about Nurse Lacrissa was over, another video surfaced online. Someone else came forward and shared their own experience with this same nurse, Nurse Lacrissa. In this second recording you're about to see, her behavior raises concern. Take a look.
You can go ahead and turn your phone off too, please.
I can record. I'm in a public place.
That's fine. All right.
Yeah, look at the treatment.
And just like the first video we saw, her demeanor is exactly the same. Cold, detached, and emotionless. No warmth, no empathy, no urgency. So when you see two separate videos, two separate patients, and the exact same behavior playing out, it becomes clear that this isn't just a one-off moment. This isn't just a bad day. This is a pattern. And that's what makes this even more concerning. And then there's the bigger, scarier truth. Situations like this are not isolated. They reinforce what medical research has been saying for years. That black women, both in the US and here in the UK, are at least 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than white women. We hear that statistic so often and we wonder how that is the case. Until videos like this surface and remind us that yes, it is real. Yes, it's happening. And yes, moments like this are part of the reason why. For many of us watching, this is triggering because some of us have lived it. We've been dismissed. We've been told we're exaggerating. We've had our pains brushed aside or minimized. I've shared my own birth story before. I'll link it below. But this brought back that same familiar pattern. Not being listened to, not being believed, being dismissed while in distress. And seeing it happen again, especially during labor, it's heartbreaking. What makes this even more disturbing is that her behavior didn't just put the mother at risk, it jeopardized an innocent baby. A child that hadn't even taken his first breath. And you have to ask yourself, how does someone reach a point where their bias or hatred goes so deep that it overrides their professional duty and their basic humanity? No unborn child deserves that. No mother deserves that. In fact, no human deserves that. This video went viral because people were outraged, and rightly so. But one thing that gave me hope was seeing white women speak up and call this for exactly what it was. No excuses, no deflecting, just truth. Because often when we share experiences like this, we're told we're overreacting or that we're playing the race card. But when there's footage, when it's recorded, undeniable, visible, suddenly the conversation shifts. Suddenly people believe us. Honestly, I'm grateful it was captured. I'm grateful people are talking about it. And I'm grateful for women of all backgrounds who are standing together to talk about this. Because at the end of the day, we are all women. We bleed, we birth. We break, we heal. Labor pain doesn't discriminate and neither should care. Now I want to show you some of the responses of women who spoke up after watching this video. Take a look.
The thing that's going to be really uncomfortable is that that nurse did that on purpose. That nurse was behaving that way to that black woman on purpose. That woman enjoyed the opportunity to display her racism, to display power and control over. That woman, that triage nurse from Dallas Regional Medical Center in the emergency department room, did that to that woman on purpose because she is racist. It was a conscious choice to deny care, compassion, humility, grace, kindness. That was intentional. When you watch the video and you hear her tone, you'll be like, that was 100% intentional. We are dangerous to black women and black families because we carry with us so much internalized allegiance to our whiteness and patriarchy that we will exact harm, actual physical harm on somebody because it makes us feel like we are closer to a food chain and a system of power that was never made for us. We will punch down. We will kick down. We don't challenge the authority at the top. We're not challenging patriarchy. We are exacting revenge and power over someone that we think, oh, finally somebody that has less than us. And you wonder why Black women say we are the men of women and they pick a bear over us, or being trapped in a boardroom with a white man. That nurse's disdain and coldness mirrored the pastor that we saw a week ago, right? The one who said, no, I don't even have a parking spot for you. And then went on to church to talk about the grace of God's love. We have a real problem amongst us, white women. And it is not going to get better unless we, as white women, start unpacking our internalized biases and also holding other white women accountable for their behavior and the environments that they create. I hope that that woman who was subjected to that kind of treatment both sues the hospital and wins, but also has some support and therapy to help her recover from an awful experience while she was in labor, which should have been a beautiful, supportive, and positive experience.
For all of you that are messaging me that video of that mama in active labor, that's normal and that's standard protocol for all hospitals to get the paperwork filled out first, do you understand that Black women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth? 3 times. I got to calm down for a second because I have given birth to 6 children. I have never, ever been treated the way that poor mama was treated. Do I think I would have been treated the same way in that particular hospital with that particular nurse? No, I don't. Could I be wrong? Maybe. I don't think so. But if you can sit back and the number 3 times doesn't bother you, Lord help you. Because it bothers me. It has opened my eyes to something I wasn't aware of. 3 times. We got to do better, y'all.
I just watched something that absolutely disgusted me. As a former ER nurse and a current labor and delivery nurse, I usually try to seek the best intent of a nurse. Not today. Not today. Because barring you having a medical emergency yourself, where your legs, your arms, and your voice no longer work, there is zero excuse for the blatant neglect that I just watched. And as a reminder, Black women are 3 times as likely to die in and around childbirth than their white counterparts. Part of that is because they are not believed about their pain. How you can sit there on the computer and act like you don't notice that this woman is actively birthing beside you is crazy town to me. Unacceptable, inexcusable. And if you've got coworkers who you watch do something like that, you are just as culpable.
As a previous emergency room nurse, we don't claim her. As a current labor and delivery nurse, we don't claim her. And as a woman, we definitely don't claim her. And if you don't know who she is, you're sadly about to find out.
How many times have you been pregnant?
Doesn't matter.
Who's your doctor?
Doesn't matter. Here's what matters. Pregnant belly. Excruciating pain.
2 babies
It's
at
in my ass.
You have 2 babies at home?
Her telling you exactly what's happening to her body. Black women are still 3 times more likely to die in childbirth than their white counterparts, than people that look like me. So not only is this nurse disrespecting this woman who's clearly about to have a baby in a wheelchair, she is also exponentially adding to her birth trauma. Because regardless of whatever the outcome of this situation was, she's going to take that with her in her postpartum journey. And unfortunately, people being treated like this in the hospital setting is going to push more and more moms into home births, where maybe they didn't want a home birth before, or maybe it's not safe for them to have a home birth. If this is how I was treated when I was having a baby and no one believed me and no one respected me and no one helped me, sure as wouldn't want to come back and do it again. Do you want to know my rule in a situation like this? it's birth first, chat later, because all of those details that she's asking, they aren't going to change after she gives birth to her baby. Also, shout out to the queen behind the camera, because a lot of times we say things like advocate for yourself, but that becomes really, really difficult when your body's sole purpose goes inward and it goes to safely birthing your baby. Because I can guarantee you, she was thinking everything that lady was saying. And if you've had a similar experience, let me know your name in the comments. We're going to say it out loud, and then hopefully that redheaded nurse is going to see this video and realize that she is perpetuating a very big problem. Do better.
She's not fired. The reason she's not around is because the hospital placed her on paid administrative leave. She's sitting at home watching all the TikToks, including this one. You might want to send her a message on your behalf. The hospital had to do this because there's hundreds of people protesting in front of the hospital as we speak. Because the hospital has received bomb threats. Because the hospital has been inundated with phone calls. See, LaCrista thought she was just going to do this to yet another patient because this is not her first rodeo. She's done this before. Except now we have video. We need to continue to raise awareness because after all, that's Texas. And we know what happens in Texas. She's going to find a group of people that somehow they're going to justify that racist behavior. They're going to be like, well, she was just doing her job. She needed to gather information for patient safety. Getting her fired is just the beginning. The board needs to do a thorough investigation, and they need to revoke her license. Because if she was racist in that hospital, she's been racist before in other facilities, and she's going to be racist in future facilities, putting at risk anyone that doesn't look like her.
So guys, as you heard in that last video, the nurse hasn't been fired. She's been placed on paid leave, which, let's be honest, feels more like a reward than accountability. Dallas Regional Medical Center released a public statement addressing the situation. They said, "We are committed to providing compassionate, high-quality care to every person who comes through our doors, and we are reviewing this situation to understand what occurred." I really hope Nurse LaCrista is held fully accountable and made an example within the medical field, because behavior like this cannot be ignored or excused. And I truly hope the family received proper compensation for what they went through. No one should have to experience something so traumatic, especially at such a vulnerable moment.
There are new developments tonight after a viral video of a pregnant woman in labor at a Mesquite hospital became public.
Dallas Regional Medical Center officials tell Fox 4 a staff member captured on video at her computer as the pregnant woman screamed in agony is now off the job. The hospital says it's also training employees to recognize signs of imminent delivery, as well as training on empathy and compassionate care. So all this comes shortly after lawyers for the woman sent the hospital a letter demanding a meeting. Fox 4's David Santendry spoke to the attorney and has more on the hospital investigation.
By now, you might have seen the viral video. A mother, Kiara Jones, in painful, active labor at Dallas Regional Medical Center in Mesquite on November 11th, while a hospital staffer sits at a computer nearby.
It's clear that she's in a great deal of pain and that she is in the end stages of labor, that she's going to have a baby imminently.
Attorney Sarah Reich now represents Jones.
She ends up delivering in the waiting room of the hospital because they refuse to provide her with medical care, even though she is clearly experiencing an emergent medical event.
Last Wednesday, Reich's law firm sent a letter to Dallas Regional Medical Center's CEO, Chief Nursing Officer, and General Counsel asking for a meeting.
We're seeking answers.
Reich says no one has responded to the letter.
Why did this happen? Why was she left in the reception area and not treated when she was clearly in active labor? What is the hospital doing to make changes? How are they going to avoid this happening in the future?
Y'all treat all your patients like this or just the black ones?
Jones's mother recorded the video. The post of the recording claims Jones waited more than 30 minutes, and her son was born 12 minutes after what's seen on video.
I bet y'all listen next time.
At one point, Jones can no longer sit still because of labor pain.
Doctors.
and they refused to admit her.
So Jones and her son are now home from the hospital. And after that video of theirs went viral, 2 Texas state lawmakers met with Mesquite city leaders as well as hospital administration and staff in an effort to get some answers. As for Jones's legal team, they are hoping this story sparks some sort of law change. They're also trying to get monetary relief for their client, but at this point in time, a civil lawsuit has not been filed.
The wellness of mothers and babies is something everyone should care about.
Right now.
And we're seeking accountability, we're seeking justice, we're seeking change.
Reporting, David Centendry, Fox 4 News.
And guys, as if everything that we've just seen wasn't already shocking enough, there's more. Another situation almost identical surfaced online. Another mother, clearly in active labor, clearly in need of urgent care, was turned away. And within just 8 minutes of leaving the hospital, her husband had to pull over on the side of the road so she could give birth. 8 minutes. Another black woman dismissed another mother unheard. Another moment where someone's pain was treated like an inconvenience instead of a medical emergency. It's heartbreaking, it's infuriating, and it's happening far too often. Take a look.
Getting kicked out of the hospital in active labor for being black, and her husband having to deliver their baby on the side of the road. This happened in Crown Point, Indiana, where Mercedes Wells arrived in clear distress after hours of strong contractions. Staff focused only on her dilation number, decided she wasn't progressing, and discharged her. They did not track her contractions, did not reassess her pain, and did not listen when she said something was wrong. 8 minutes after being forced out, her labor collapsed into crisis. Her husband pulled over their truck as the baby crowned, delivering their child on the roadside while Mercedes screamed through pain that should never have been managed alone. They then drove 30 more minutes to another hospital because the first one refused to treat her. This is not a rare failure. Black women are repeatedly dismissed during pregnancy and birth, and the consequences are often fatal. Labor is not measured by dilation alone. If a woman gives birth within minutes of discharge, her contractions were clearly close and strong. The hospital missed what should have been obvious.
In Crown Point, Indiana, another alarming video. Mercedes Wells says she sought care from Franciscan Health Crown Point Sunday. She says they sent her up to triage, where she labored for 6 hours, and a nurse gave her a checkup.
After she finished, she said, well, if you're not further along and you're not past 3 centimeters in the next 2 hours, then we're going to discharge you.
Wells says she never saw a doctor, and minutes after being discharged, she gave birth in the car.
How did it feel after you gave birth? Not at the hospital, but in your car?
I felt like I was put out on the street.
Did you think you could lose them?
I did. And that's what.
Guys, honestly, that just gives me goosebumps. Like, the trauma. I can't even imagine how frightened both the mum and the dad would have been at that point where they had to deliver their baby. The level of pain that woman would have been in. Honestly, guys, the pain you're in at that point, no woman should ever be left alone to go through that without medical assistance or without medical professionals present. It's comforting having them around because you know and you feel like you're in a safe environment, you're in a safe space. But to have it on the side of the road, that is frightening. It's already frightening in a hospital environment, in labor and delivery. It's already frightening. But then to have it on the side of the road, just such traumatic experiences that both these ladies have had to go through. And it breaks my heart. And I really hope that they're okay and they get the help they need for their postpartum journey. The president and the CEO of this hospital said, "We must fix what failed in our hospital. The physician and the nurse directly involved with Mrs. Wells' care are no longer employed by Franciscan." Good. I apologize to Mrs. Wells and her family. And honestly, guys, for me, what makes this even more frightening is not that racism exists. No, we know it does. But what's truly terrifying is when the person holding the bias or hatred is the same person that's responsible for your care. That's terrifying. When someone with prejudice is the one administering treatment, making decisions, and literally holding your life in their hands. That takes the fear to another level. Because in labor, during a medical emergency, during vulnerable moments, you don't get to choose who treats you. You don't get to walk away. You need help. And you just have to trust that the person attending to you will do what's right, regardless of who you are, what you look like, or where you come from. And that's why stories like this shake us. I pray truly that none of us, none of our daughters, none of our loved ones ever have to encounter a nurse Lacrissa, in Jesus' name. Amen. I'm glad this was recorded. I'm glad this came to light, because without footage, as many of us know, stories like this are often dismissed, questioned, or just brushed under the rug. So every woman watching this, please advocate for yourself. And if you can't because you're in pain or you're overwhelmed, make sure that someone is with you who can advocate on your behalf. You deserve to be heard, respected, and treated with dignity. Childbirth can already be traumatic. I know women who have said never again. They've gone once, twice, and they're like, no, that's it. I can't put myself through that again. Simply because their experience left them deeply shaken. And the worst part is that when you add treatment like this, on top of everything that comes with labor and delivery, it becomes an entirely different level of trauma. I've said it before on this channel and I'll say it again. If you witness behavior like this, if you witness racism, negligence, or disregard for someone's humanity, call it out. Do not be silent. Silence protects the problem, not the victim. So to my community, please stay safe, stay informed, and never stop speaking up. Advocate for yourself, advocate for each other, and keep pushing for change. Thank you so much for watching, and if this video resonated with you, please do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you do not miss my next post. Till next time, guys. Bye.